Hey, it's Paul Tobey here from jazzmental.com. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be going through a Carol of the Bells sheet music arrangement that I did several years ago, which is still really relevant, and I enjoy playing it pretty much every year at Christmas time. And if you're looking for a solo piano piece that's challenging and very exciting for people to hear, then this is the arrangement for you. So we're going to be going through that literally step by step. I'll walk you through the sheet music and some of the things you need to look out for, some fingerings, some of the chords you need to play. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to spend some time on it, and we'll get started right after this short message. So what are your goals as a piano player? Well, if you're like most musicians, you're just looking to get a whole lot better. But what do you want to be better for? So I think if your goal is to be a better performer, a great teacher, perhaps, you want to be a better composer, you want to acquire more skills, you want to hone your talents and have other people come up to you and say, wow, you're super talented, and then you'll think to yourself, wow, I put a lot of work into it. That work essentially is something that is common amongst most great musicians. Is you have to put in the time, you have to build on the talents that you already have. And one of the best ways that I've found to do that is to understand music from the inside out, not just reading notes off of a page and doing the right fingerings, but to understand how those notes are put together, how chords are put together, how scales are put together, how rhythm is put together. And that's what jazzmental.com is all about. There, you'll find as part of your membership, you'll get into this 10-lesson fundamentals course that goes through tertian harmony right from the very beginning, how chords are put together in thirds, and then you build on those thirds and keep going to get really rich sounding chords. And then what are the scales that come out of that, like bebop scales, 8-note scales versus 7-note scales. So there's a lot to do at jazzmental.com. In addition to that, those fundamental videos, there is monthly masterminds in which we'll tackle a tune, we'll do some improvisation, we'll take some questions, we'll hear you perform, and just a whole lot of stuff at jazzmental.com that will really help you just become this super awesome musician. So if you want to play better improvisations, or if you want to take popular songs and jazz them up a little, play better, richer chords, things like this. So whatever your goals are this year, I think jazzmental.com is a great place to go. If you want to get started right away, here's a coupon code you can use, jazzmental50. That's JAZZMENTL and the numbers 50. So jazzmental50, use that coupon code for 50% off your first month's membership. It's a really good deal, and I hope to see you at jazzmental.com real soon. And welcome back. It's Paul Tobey here. We're going to be going through this Carol of the Bells sheet music arrangement that I did several years back. It's very challenging, a lot of fun to do, and you're going to love it. If you want to pick up the sheet music, which is going to make your life a whole lot easier, just pop on over to jazzmental.com, stick the sheet music in your shopping cart and use the coupon code Christmas50. That's Christmas with the numbers 50 to get 50% off the arrangement. And like I said, it's probably a lot easier to do it that way, print it out, and then go through this video. And I'm going to be talking about all of the different elements of it and how it's going to help you actually learn the arrangement pretty quickly. So let's go into the sheet music now and let's take a look. So the first thing you'll notice is that it was arranged by me back in 2007. It is in 3/4 time, and it is a pretty good pace. So quarter note equals 220. So it's pretty quick and a lot more exciting the quicker you can play it. And it is B flat key signature, but it is G minor is really the key. So it's really based on this sort of G minor melodic scale, which is kind of I find it falls underneath the fingers pretty simply and pretty easily. So there is this recurring motif that appears that everyone recognizes. I find it easier to play with the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd finger versus 5, 4, and 3 or 3, 2, 1. You can test yourself a little bit on this and you can use the fingering that you like. I think 4, 3, 2 though is probably the easiest to play. It falls underneath those fingers pretty easily and you can play it at a pretty quick pace. And then there's just this dotted half note that follows the G minor scale in the left hand. You can use pretty much any fingering in the left hand you want. Doesn't really matter because it doesn't go by very quickly. Let's pop into this next section. And so this part is tricky because it does do this in thirds now. And the hard part about it is that the B flat repeats very quickly from here to here. And it's really tough to do that quick. So what I would recommend is if you can't play it at that speed, just ignore the first B flat. Something like that. Or you could even do, just ignore the the 3rd B flat. So it's your choice whether you want to do it this way or this way. I think it's a little easier the first way, which is just leave off that last B flat. So again, it does go by pretty quickly and it's really tough to do. So I encourage you to try to figure that out. And if you can't play it at that pace, I find it very difficult myself to do. So I kind of leave off the second one. And then roll this G minor chord. Pretty simple, just an octave in the left hand and this G minor chord in the right hand, and it's notated as a roll. So this part, fingering, what I like to do is just a simple arpeggio. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, up to 5. And then when you get up here, so that's the tough part, where it rolls on this G note right here. So it's first finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger. Might want to practice that. A lot easier to do it with 1 and 3 than it is 1 and 2. Certainly 1 and 4 is harder. 1 and 5 is way too hard. So 1 and 3 is probably the quickest way you can do it. And you'll find that the key bounces a bit. So when the key bounces, especially with a grand piano, it kind of makes it easy to do. So, and then just so it's really just staying in the key of G with an F sharp. So it's like a D7 chord. And then, and those notes up top where it goes doo-dee-doo-doo, you can do that in thirds if you want to. Makes it interesting. And then it just brings us to this dotted half note pattern. And it's kind of like a waltz. You're going to have to roll those a bit because it is an 11th. So it does not fall under some people's fingers easy. I got pretty big hands, so it works for me. Like that. So it's like this. So this pattern here, it says 8 notes in like 1 3/4 time bar. So it's, you kind of have to go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So the fingering is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. Sorry, I think I played an E flat. It doesn't really matter whether you play an E flat or an E major. They both work. That's with an E natural, and that's with an E flat. So one is more like harmonic minor, the other one's more melodic minor. So it's really up to you what you want to do. I don't mind if you put in one or the other. That's one of the things I wanted to say, is that when you're doing arrangements like this, there's a little bit of latitude. You don't have to play it note for note and whatever you think sounds right or sounds better. I find that with arrangements, I'm always kind of putting in my own spin on things. So if you want to, in this particular case, play the E natural or the E flat, it's up to you. So let's do that section from, let's go from here. It's very exciting when you do that. If you could actually put a crescendo on that, that would be even better. And this is kind of a bluesy thing that you go through. So take a look at this. After that, take a look at the next bar. You're going to go from, and it's really just, if you've ever played blues before, it's kind of like something like that. So what you want to do is you want to slide into that first one with a C sharp, like this. And I like to roll the third finger from the C sharp to the D. Pretty sure you're used to that and how that goes. So, and so this is just C minor pattern. And then it just goes back to G and does the same thing. And I think what it does here is it eventually gets around to doing it in thirds in the last bar here on this page. So that's a situation where you've got that B flat repeating. If it were on the and of 2, if it were like there, so I've left that off to make it easier to play. Okay, so let's see if we can do this section again. So down here. So there. And then it goes back to the beginning. So let's try and play that. I won't be able to turn the sheet music. Actually, I could make it smaller. Let's see if we can do it a bit smaller, and that way we can get through the whole thing. And then it just goes back and does this part again. And then again. So this time around, it just makes a bigger deal out of the chords. So the chords are a little bit different. They just had extra notes in them. So it's like G minor 7th, E major 7th, and then it's like B flat over D, C minor, B flat with a 6th, and then A7 flat 9. And now it gets into the improv solo. So I've written a solo out here for you. I actually looked at this before starting this video and I thought to myself, is that a good solo? It's actually not too bad. So you can learn it. I actually haven't relearned it, but it's not that hard to do. So it does take some left hand. So a lot of this sort of throw the root down and then play these fourths in the key of C minor. So it is a C minor blues. So basically it's like C minor to F minor, back to C. And it goes A flat 7 to G7 to C minor 7. And then a turnaround. So if you've never done blues before, you might want to check out one of my other videos on jazzmental.com or YouTube on how to play blues properly. This is minor blues. It's 12-bar blues. So it's in the key of C minor. So let's just go through some of the scales that you would play in a C minor blues. So of course, if you're going to play C minor blues, there's the blues scale that you can play. And if you can play that over the entire thing, that'll work just fine. But it's probably best if you mix that up with other things. So let's take a look at the scales themselves. So if you're playing sort of this C minor 7, what you can do is you can play a C minor 7 bebop scale, which kind of throws in this third note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's something that falls easily under the fingers that you can use to improvise with. Once you go to the F minor 7th chord, this would be the scale. And it's the same scale, just starting on F. You could also throw this note in there as well. then back to C minor. And then once you get to A flat 7, it's probably a good idea to spell out the chord. And then G7. So a G7 chord with a flat 9. And then back to C. Actually, there's a 2-5 there before C. So D minor, D half diminished 7th, or D minor 7 flat 5 to G7. Back to C minor 7. So if you put that all together, it sounds something like this. Try to when you play jazz, especially minor blues, it's always a good idea to catch that turnaround at the end. So it's like 1 to flat 6 to 2 minor 7 flat 5 to 5 7 flat 9 back to 1 minor 7. So C, A flat, D, G, that turnaround. Okay, so try to catch that turnaround at the end. So whole 12-bar blues. Okay, so there is a written out solo there. I would recommend that you kind of work your own solo out, or you can learn the one that I've written out and use elements from it. But it's pretty much up to you how you want to improvise over that. So then what it does is after the solo, it just goes right back. So there's a DS, which takes you all the way back to here. Literally the 4th bar, and you just do it all over again. So coming out of the solo, it would be something like this. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get from a swing feel back into a straight 8 feel. So you might want to give yourself a little bit of space at the end of the solo to get into that. So and then it literally goes through the whole tune again. And then there's a coda mark here. So you're going to be doing and then it goes, jumps to the coda to here. So again. And then this really neat ending, which is starts in the 3rd bar here. It is a whole tone scale. So if you ever played a whole tone scale from C, it's literally whole tones. Kind of cool to improvise on that if you wanted to play the C minor blues. So it sounds something like this. And it's kind of what we call a little bit of thing that you can use with patterns to go outside the key, what we call playing outside. So it's kind of neat to do it during solos if you have the skill to do it. But when you look at it here at the end, it's just a whole tone scale that does this neat little sort of triplet pattern. So fingering, so 3, 4. So it's really just 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then this ascending triplet pattern with the left hand bass descending. So it starts on C sharp, both of them on C sharp. That's the most fun part of the tune, actually, I find. So you might want to practice that a little bit. This is just a chromatic scale in the top. Ah. That fourth bar here, when you're doing the motif in the right hand, the left hand does this. It's kind of hard to synchronize that, so you might want to do it really slowly, because it doesn't really fit your brain. So it's something that you kind of have to feel a little bit, and sometimes when you try to feel it, it just feels wrong, but it's the right way to do it. So if you're coming out of the pattern here like this, and of course you can just fade it out at the end and just finish it off with that motif. So that's pretty much the arrangement of Carol of the Bells. It'll be fun, I think, for you to do. It's definitely a challenging arrangement, and of course, if you're looking for something challenging and of course interesting to play, and it sounds great, and it's a great tune that everyone recognizes, it's always good to play these things at concerts and wherever you want to play them. So I hope you have fun with it. Remember, if you want the sheet music, just hop over to jazzmental.com. Use the coupon code Christmas50 to get 50% off off of the music. So this has been a Carol of the Bells sheet music arrangement tutorial, and my name is Paul Tobey. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and of course, please subscribe to the channel so you get notified, because I'm adding new instructional videos all the time. Thanks for your time.